If you're suffering from back pain, this tape is designed to show you how to get relief from your back pain. I'm Dr. Irene Lamberti, and I've helped thousands of people like yourself get relief from back pain. My expertise comes from years of working with people as well as having had back pain like you. This program is in 3 parts. Part 1 is informational. Here you'll learn what you may be doing that causes or irritates your pain. You'll learn new ways of moving to relieve your own back pain. Watch this segment until you're sure that you've mastered the movement principles and can use them in your everyday life. It can be very useful to use this first section of the tape with a supportive friend or significant other, or with another back pain sufferer, so that you can watch and help each other with a new way of moving that you'll be taught. Part 2 is the back pain relief exercise segment, which includes safe stretching and strengthening exercises for your entire back, neck, and shoulders. If you have a VCR that has a tape counter, you'll be given a message where to zero that counter. This will make it easier for you to rewind to that part of the tape that's meant to be used on a daily basis. Part 3 gives a tool for managing pain and stress control. This part is also meant to be used daily to help relieve that part of your pain that's irritated by day-to-day stress. Now first let's talk about the ways in which back pain episodes occur. The vast majority of back pain is not caused by lifting, cleaning, or moving and so on. Most episodes of pain that people suffer are irritated by something as simple as bending over to pick up a magazine. Your back goes out, you can't stand up, and it all seems very mysterious, like you have no control whatsoever over these kinds of flare-ups. But you do. You see, most of us have never really been taught how to use our spines in a way that's non-irritating. When you have a spine that's ever been injured, there's often a little weakness that occurs, and it's important that you learn to move in ways that don't irritate that weakness. You see, it's the ongoing irritating movements that we do on a day-to-day basis that accumulate and then result in a full-blown flare-up. So if you can train yourself to move well, you can gain a lot of relief from your back pain. Now let's start with the neck. It's the nature of the neck to move in a variety of motions each day. Most of us end up with an excessive amount of forward bending like this. If we look at the neck from the side, you will see that the spine is facing in this direction, and you'll notice the curve here like this. This curve has a very important function. We have the skinny little neck holding this heavy 10 to 15 pound weight of the head. When this curve is altered or straightened out somehow, you have the most common irritating factor to injury and chronic pain in the neck. An alteration of the curve in the neck causes neck pain, headaches, shoulder pain, and or pressure on the nerves that come out of the neck and go into the arm and hand. Some people get this neck shape from trauma, such as an auto accident where the head snaps back and then snaps forward, resulting in torn tissues of the spinal joints and muscles. Many other people develop an accumulative effect from some tiny, repetitive, irritating movement where the head is always lowered like this over an extended period of time. Eventually, the curve is then weakened or lost. If you work at a desk all day, you may want to take a look at this. How many times do you find yourself looking at a desk like this with your head down for 40 hours a week, shuffling papers, reading memos, and so on? You can see how it aggravates the normal curve. This position accumulates mechanical stress on the neck. Think about moving your papers more up to your eye level when you need to refer to something. Or reading your mail like this can do a lot to relieve the accumulation of stress. There are mechanical arms and devices like these that can also help eliminate the constant irritant of looking down. How about this? You'd be surprised how many people read at night or watch television with their head jammed up on the couch like this. Another irritating factor. Or maybe you're one of the millions of Americans that like to sleep like this at night with 2 or 3 pillows at their head. This is not a good idea either in relieving stress. Let me show you one way of sleeping at night that actually supports the neck curve. What we'll do is take a nice soft pillow, one that you can bunch up underneath your neck like this, so that the neck curve is now supported. This is one of the better ways of giving support to your neck at night. There are also specifically designed pillows with a supportive neck curve built into them. Now, before we leave the neck, there are a couple of other things that I'd like to have you take a look at. Do you ever catch yourself doing this? This is not a great idea either for your neck. If you're on the phone a lot during the day, it is well worth the money to invest in a headset. They can be worth their weight in gold if you have chronic neck problems and use the telephone a lot. Those of you that are at a computer screen, be sure that your computer screen is at eye level or about 15 degrees higher and directly in front of your eyesight. Data input materials ideally should be at eye level as well. Notice the variety that these mechanical arms give you. So now look at your life over the next couple of months to see where you can make mechanical improvements for your neck. This section of the tape is about you taking control over how you use your body so you don't irritate your problem. If you're working this program with a partner, the partner can also help you catch yourself in that head-forward position. Now let's move on to the low back. In the low back, there are basically 5 movements that are irritating to us. These movements, if they're done repetitively, will inevitably result in a flare-up of pain. The 5 movements are 1. Unsupported bending, 2. Arching, 3. Side bends, 4. Twisting, and 5. Bending and twisting at the same time. The first one, unsupported bending, is bending over like this, with your task out in front of your body, with the entire weight of the torso is balanced on the lower back. Supported bending is like this. You have at least one hand, if not both hands, supporting the weight of the torso with a task at hand close to your body. The weight of the torso is either on the legs or on a countertop in front of you. If you bend day after day without any support, you will inevitably aggravate the low back. Perhaps you like to garden where you need to be bent over. Try kneeling down or sit down on the ground so that you can keep your task as close to your body as possible, like this. Or if you must work on your car, instead of this, you can support your bending by leaning on the fender, like this. Now, even if you support your bending, you can relieve the strain further by learning to bend while maintaining the normal curve in your lower back. First, I'm going to place this stick between his shoulder blades and at the very base of his spine. And I'm going to have him bend now, and when he bends, you'll notice he's bending his knees, but he's keeping the alignment here between his shoulder blades and his lower back. At the same time that he bends, he's pressing the chest and the abdomen in a forward position. Now, if he wants to go all the way to the floor, he'll simply widen the base of his legs by widening his feet and do the same thing by going down. There's one other alternative way of maintaining the normal alignment here, and that is for him to lunge forward. And again, even on that kind of bend, he can maintain the normal posture. Now, to practice this, get a broom handle and practice yourself in front of a mirror. It's helpful if you do this with a partner and have the partner watch you. The importance of bending correctly can't be overemphasized because we do it so frequently throughout the day. Here's an example. Many people hurt themselves first thing in the morning, bending over the sink to wash their face or brush their teeth. This is a real easy way to see how unsupported bending can irritate your back. The muscles are frequently cold and stiff in the morning, and people often shave or put on their makeup while bending over the mirror in an unsupported bend. A simple way that you can alter this bad habit is to have at least one hand or elbow supporting your weight, either on or over the sink. Again, support the weight. And of course, as you bend, maintain that normal straight and low back instead of curling into the sink like this. Again, you want to flatten down, engage the legs, and use your hands to support the weight. This is just one example of the many ways we self-inflict irritation to our lower back. So start looking at the many unsupported bends that you find in your life and begin thinking how you might alter the habits so that they're not so stressful on your lower back. This is where a partner can be very useful in helping to identify your bending. Now, that was the first irritating movement. The second movement is arching the low back in a standing position from an exercise that looks like this. There's a small percentage of the population with back pain for whom that is a good exercise. It's specifically prescribed by a professional who's seen your x-rays and who knows for a fact that it's for you. For the vast majority of people with a weak lower back, that is not a good exercise. If you're somebody who has seen this exercise in a book or have a friend who has given it, I would not categorically advise it for you. So if there's any doubt in your mind, don't do it. Now, a less obvious way that arching of the back can sneak up on a person is seen in sexuality. Many people find that lovemaking can irritate their back. This is often because of arching that occurs with pelvic motion. So the following rules are useful. The person with a weak back should either stay on bottom if it's comfortable, with a pillow under the knees, or on his or her side in a spoon position. 2, limit the range of pelvic motion, particularly arching, and limit the sharpness of the pelvic motion, thinking of the activity as more of a fluid dance. Now, so far we've covered 1, unsupported bending, 2, arching, 3 is a side bend, and it looks like this. Side bends pull the whole weight of the trunk to the side and balance it on a small area of the low back that's not really designed to support that weight. So if you're someone that's doing that exercise, and if you have a weak low back, eliminate it now. A real good alternative of lengthening and stretching the side and the rib cage is simply raise both your hands above the head and just lift up through the rib cage like you're lifting straight up from one side. And then you get a nice, long, elegant stretch in here without doing any damage. Now, so far, we're up to 1, unsupported bending, 2, arching, 3, side bends, and now the 4th damaging movement is twisting the low back. All too often when we irritate our low back, it's because we're in a hurry. And again, we forget to keep the task at hand in front of our bodies. Now, here's a good example of how twisting can aggravate your low back. Ever been sitting in your car and try to get something out of the back seat? You bend around something like this. Then there's getting out of the car. Try turning the body and then standing. Then reverse for getting into the car. First sit, then turn. Some people sit at a desk and they have their file cabinets or bookcase positioned behind them. So instead of swirling that chair around, facing the task, they do it something like this, where they reach to get something from the bookcase or file cabinet. All they really need to do is turn and face the task squarely. When sleeping, a small pillow between the knees helps to eliminate twisting if you sleep on your side. This is an important relief for those of you who have trouble finding a comfortable position at night. 1, unsupported bending, 2, arching, 3, side bends, 4, twisting, and now 5, which is the most damaging of all, is bending and twisting at the same time. This is the one that causes most lifting injuries. We find bending and twisting injuries most often when we pick something up and move it somewhere. We get into trouble when we're in a hurry because we bend and twist like this. Now, if you can slow yourself down just a beat and break the movement up, you can protect yourself. First, he has to bend. Then he has to turn and move it to wherever it's going. And finally, the unload. See if that doesn't help you a lot. Separate the movements. First the lifting, then the turning, and then, of course, finally, the release. This can provide tremendous relief for you. Now, let's look at some of the little insidious ways that bending and twisting occur in our life. Most of us have a kitchen set up something like this. We have a sink here and a dishwasher here. Now, see if this pattern doesn't look familiar to you. You have a dish here and you're rinsing it off, and then you go and load it in the dishwasher like this. You pick another dish, you're rinsing it off, and then you load it in the dishwasher like this. What movement is that? Of course, it's bending and twisting at the same time. You can see how this pattern really adds up, because if you load a whole dishwasher, you've done that approximately 50 times. That's 50 times of bending and twisting. So let's look at how we might think about solving this problem. What you might think about doing, getting a little creative, is rinsing all the dishes at once and putting them right on top of the dishwasher. And then coming over here in front of the dishwasher, of course, bending your knees, supporting your weight, so it's a supported bend on the counter, flattening the low back. And now that your task is directly in front of your body, you can just go ahead and load the dishwasher like this and really minimize the stress on your low back considerably. So you see, in many day-to-day situations like this, some creative use of these 5 movement principles can really help you to protect yourself from ongoing back irritation. Your homework is to start looking at the daily movements and see where you can start applying these protective principles in your life. And partners, it's up to you to help spot some of those patterns and help work out some creative solutions like this. Remember to slow down a little bit so that you can notice how you're using your body. And don't be afraid to make the changes that might be necessary. It may be something like changing your workstation, or perhaps asking your children to climb on your lap instead of you always leaning down to lift them. The most important way to relieve back pain is not to do those persistent, irritating movements that cause that pain. So work with it, and don't get discouraged if you find you're guilty of these movements all over the place in your life. The more movements that you find you've been doing incorrectly, the more hope you have of back pain relief. Now, there are a variety of back care supports that can be useful tools for you as well. For those of you finding it difficult to drive or sit at your desk, there are several types of back supports that slip into the seat. These can sometimes double as a portable support to be used at the desk. If you work at a computer or a design table, this next support is for you. No matter how good your chair is, if you need to sit up to your work, you have no support. This is a simple sling that fits like so and allows you to sit forward up to your work with full support of your lower back. This position also supports the alignment of the upper back, shoulders, and neck in a less stressful position. This can also be used in a canoe, stadium, or anywhere else that you have no backrest. So ask your doctor if any supports like these might be useful for you. Now let's move on to part 2 of our program. This is the exercise portion of our program. We'll be doing stretching and strengthening exercises. I've developed this series of exercises from my years of study and practice in a wide variety of disciplines. If you have any questions about the exercises or about the wisdom with which you should approach an exercise program like this, please check with your doctor. The stretching and strengthening exercises are given in the order of difficulty. So if you have any pain or discomfort on a given movement, simply go back to the exercise prior and continue that one as long as it feels comfortable to you. Feel free to rest at any time your body gives you that signal. Each of us has a mechanical individuality. Some of us can do certain things and not do others. We're very individual in our makeup, in the way our linkage is sort of put together. It's important that you work with where you are and what you have. Listen to your own body and go at your own pace. If you haven't exercised in many years, it's probably wise to stop when advised for the first several weeks. Listen for the cues I'll give you throughout the tape. Now we want to begin with a series of standing exercises to increase the movement in the neck, the shoulder, the upper back, and the chest. You know, it's the very nature of the body to move in a wide variety of ways on a continual basis. Those of us that worked in cramped spaces or at a desk are fighting the very nature of the body. So try to memorize this standing segment and take a movement break every half hour or so to relieve the buildup of stiffness in the neck and shoulders and the upper back. Forget coffee breaks for the time being and take a movement break. You'll get a lot more out of it. Now we're going to start with our feet a little bit apart and the knees bent, slightly bent, and keep them bent throughout this segment. Let's start with 3 deep breaths together, okay? How about this? Inhaling up and exhaling down. And again, inhaling up and exhaling down. And last time, inhaling up. And as you're up there, leave your hands up there and we're going to stretch, raising one hand together. 1, 2, really stretching the rib cage, nice and tall. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now slowly we're going to have these hands come right in front of the body, and we'll turn this way so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to rotate the arm like that, okay? Together 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, giving nice open movement to the shoulder. 6, 7, and 8. And now we'll drop the arms, come this way, and we're going to do 8 shoulder rolls back. So we're going to go back, 1, 2, really take your time with this, open up the movement. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. And now in the opposite direction. Change the circles. 1. Take your time with it. 2, 3. Keep your knees bent in all of this part. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. Now we're going to do the same thing, but the movement's going to be back. But the circles are with full arms. So let's do it together. 1, 2, a little slower on this. 3, keep your knees bent. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. And just relax. Notice how that feels. Now very gently we're going to rotate the head to one side. Just your normal range of motion. Keep your knees bent and breathe deeply into your abdomen, nice and relaxed. Good. And now to the other side. Very slowly we come to the front, and now we'll go to the other shoulder. Breathing deeply. Good. And now we'll come to the front. Okay. Now we're going to drop your ear to the shoulder and allow the other shoulder, the opposing shoulder and arm, the weight of it to just give a little resistance to the stretch. Again, breathing deeply into your abdomen, keeping your knees slightly bent. And now we'll bring the head up and then to the other side. Breathing deeply. Good. And now bring your head up. Now very slowly, we're going to bring the hands relaxed in front of the thighs. The chin is to the chest, or as close to your chest as you can bring it. And then bring your head up. Now we'll all turn to the side so you can see how we do this. This next exercise, you put your hands on your shoulders, right where your shoulder and neck comes together, so that the hands are actually on the shoulder. And you're going to pull forward very gently, and as you do that, let your head go back. But when you do that, keep your mouth slightly open so your jaw is relaxed. So take a breath in and let it go. So this is a real good stretch for supporting the normal curve that should be in the neck. Now the next exercise, we're going to place the hands in front of the body, and we're going to push the hands away from your body. And as you do this, what you'll notice is that the shoulder blades will separate and you'll expand the upper back. So we're going to press, keep your knees bent, good, and release. And now change hands, and again, one more time, take a breath in and exhale. And as you exhale, pressing away from your body with your hands, opening the shoulder blades and the upper back. And release. Now, this next exercise, what I want to do is just lift the center of your chest right here. Your shoulders will roll back, then clasp your hands right behind you and lift them up as high as you can. And breathe. This is a wonderful exercise for opening up the chest, and the front of the shoulders as well as the upper back. And release. Good. It's real important that you go at your body's own pace. You'll gain flexibility the more often you do these exercises. Moving to the floor now, let's find a comfortable position on the floor, starting with one knee up and the other leg is extended. All right, now what we're going to do, this exercise is called the frog leg, and it opens up the lower back and the hips and the lower pelvis. So what we do is slide the side of the foot along the floor and then bring the knee in, and then open the knee out again, really extending the motion in that joint, and slide the foot down. We're going to do it 8 times together. Let's begin. Moving it out and in, and the knee is out and down. The knee is out and in, and out and down. Out and in, and out and down. Out and in, and out down. 2 more times. Out and in, and out and down. Last time. Sliding it out and in, and out and down. Good. Now let's switch legs. Start with the other leg extended now. And slide it along the floor and in, and out and down, and out and in. Really open up that movement. Out, down, and out and in, out and down, out and in, and out and down, out and in, out and down. 3 more times. Out and in, out and down, out and in, out and down. Last time, out and in, and out and down. Good. For this next series, you're going to need both feet on the floor with your knees bent up in this position here. This is going to be a strengthening series for both the abdominal muscles and the lower back. It's a very good place to start. However, it's important first that we learn how to breathe properly through the exercises. Let's begin with your hands on your abdomen here. And take a big deep breath in, and as you inhale, imagine that your abdomen is filling up with air, right? And then as you exhale, it flattens. So the image is that your belly's filling up with air, and that as you exhale, it goes down. So we'll take a deep breath in, and exhale to flatten. Try and avoid breathing with your chest only. Again, once more, inhaling up, exhaling down. Now that's what you'll hear me say throughout this series. Inhaling up means, of course, filling the belly up with air, and exhaling to flatten means allowing it to go down. Now that you have the breathing down, let's place one hand right here where your ribs come together, and your other fingers, your other hand, are right at your pubic bone at the very bottom of your abdomen. Now I want you to inhale, and as you inhale, then exhale, and as you exhale, let the small of your back, this area right in here, flatten into the ground. Okay, so inhaling up and exhaling down, flattening the small of your back into the ground. Right? Now watch what happens to your fingers when you do that. So we inhale up and then exhale. Notice how the fingers start to come together. Right? They just come a little bit closer together as you contract the abdominal muscles in here. One more time, watch this, inhaling. And exhaling, the fingers come together. Now, I want you to imagine that you have a clock on your abdomen here. Right? And where these fingers are at your pubic bone is at 12 o'clock. And where these fingers are up here, where your ribs come together, is 6 o'clock. So if you were to look down at your clock, here's 12 and here's 6. Okay? And we're going to do 8 repetitions of this. So when you press the small of your back into the ground, it's the 6 and the 12 start to come together. Do you see that with your fingers? And then you inhale, and as you exhale, the 6 and 12 come together. Let's do it together, 8 counts, all right? Inhaling up, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. Inhaling up, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. Inhaling, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. Inhaling, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. Inhaling, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. Inhaling, go at your pace. Exhaling, 6 and the 12 are together. 2 more times. Inhaling, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. 1 more. Inhaling, exhaling, the 6 and the 12 come together. And release. And just notice how that feels, all right? Now I want you to move your fingers here. Imagine that the fingers here that were at the 12 o'clock position now move over to the 1 o'clock position on your clock. And the fingers here at the 6 o'clock position now move over here to the 7 o'clock position. So if I'm going to do this next, we're at a diagonal now in your abdomen. And as I breathe, inhale, exhaling, I bring the 1 and the 7 together, which works a little bit different area of the abdomen and a little bit different area of the low back, right? So let's work this diagonal process on your abdomen. Inhaling together 8 times. Exhaling, let's bring the 1 and the 7 together. You'll notice that your hip comes up on one side. Inhaling. Exhaling, the 1 and the 7. Continue inhaling. Exhaling, 1 and the 7. Now this is the next order of difficulty. Continue inhaling and exhaling. If you find any problem with this, just stay with the 6 and the 12. Inhaling, exhaling, the 1 and the 7. Inhaling. Exhaling, the 1 and the 7. 2 more times. Inhaling. Exhaling, the 1 and the 7. Inhaling, last time. Exhaling, the 1 and the 7. And relax. And just take kind of an internal look at what's going on in your body and how you feel. And if you feel good enough, let's go on and continue. Now the next thing we're going to do is switch the hands to the 11 o'clock and the 5 o'clock position. Now this will be, of course, the opposite diagonal to what we just worked. So let's do 8 repetitions of that together. Inhaling, exhaling, let's bring the 11 and the 5 together. Inhaling, exhaling, 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 the 11 and the 5. Inhaling, exhaling, the 11 and the 5. 2 more times. Inhaling, exhaling, 11 and 5. Last time. Inhaling and exhaling, 11 and 5. Good. All right. Now this is a really good place if you're beginning for you to just take it easy right now. We're working the abdominal and the lower back muscles. If you haven't exercised in many years, really take this opportunity to give yourself permission to relax. Just start with this much for about 3 or 4 weeks until it becomes easy for you. And then add 1 new exercise about every 10 days as is comfortable. You can join us again when we move on to our stomach shortly. If you do feel comfortable going on, let's continue. But remember again, listen to your body. Now this next exercise is also a strengthener for the abdomen and the low back. It's particularly good for people that have neck problems because oftentimes sit-ups are very difficult on the neck. So remember this exercise if you have problems working other kinds of abdominal work. All right, now your hands are going to be at your side and we're on our back again. Simply bring the knees to the chest, pulling them in. So we pull and release. Good. Inhale. Exhale, bring the knees to the chest. Exhale to release. Just a few inches on the release. Try to keep your calves approximately parallel to the floor. Let's do 8 of these together. Inhale. Exhale, pull and release. 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 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale, pull and release. Last time. Inhale. Exhale, pull and release. Good. Now once you've been doing this tape for several months and it becomes pretty easy for you, you can feel free to add a few more repetitions of this particular exercise, but be sure you do it only to your comfort zone. If you're beginning to feel any fatigue now in your back, rest here. Again, because we're going to move to the next order of difficulty. Before moving on though, I want you to take a little inventory of how your body feels. All right? Now the next series we're going to do is a sit-up routine. I don't recommend this set if you are just beginning. Those of you that are able to do sit-ups, you should know that the wrong kind of sit-up is more harmful to your back than doing no sit-up at all. So I want to go over the correct form for everyone. The way we do it is first to flatten the small of your back into the ground, like the pelvic clock position. You flatten, and the whole sit-up is done with that position of your pelvis and low back. The hands are behind the head. The elbows are pressed back. The eyes are on the ceiling. Your chin is up and lifted. Right? You don't want to jam your head forward like this. And you take a breath in, exhale, lift, and hold, and release. Allow your head and your neck muscles to be relaxed so their head is heavy in the hands. Now let's do 8 together, okay? Inhale, Exhale up and hold, release. 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 Inhale, exhale up and hold. Two more. Inhale, exhale up and hold. Last time. Inhale, exhale up, hold, and release. Good. Now we're going to move on to all fours, and I want everybody to do this, including those of you that rested for the last couple of sets. And the way we move on to all fours is to stretch one hand across your body, and you'll notice that at some point as you reach, your pelvis and your low back naturally follow. This is the best way for turning over during this segment of the tape, or for rolling over in bed for that matter. Then we use our hands to lift the body weight and to bring us to all fours. We're going to bring one knee up to the chest as the head goes down, and then extend the leg out, no higher than horizontal, to make it parallel with the floor. You may need to watch yourself in front of a mirror with this. So the knee is up, the leg is out, but be careful that you're not arching the leg way up or twisting your low back by coming up this way. Keep this hip stays parallel to the floor. Both hips are at the same level. So let's do it together. Knee up and extend. Knee up and extend, knee up and extend, knee up and extend, knee up and extend. Three more. Knee up and extend, knee up and extend, knee up and extend. Good. And release. Now we'll do the other leg. Same thing. Bringing the knee to the chest and extend, knee up and extend, knee up and extend, knee up and extend, knee up and extend. Three more times. Knee up and extend, knee up and extend. Last time. Knee up and extend and release. Good. Now from this position, we're going to just simply sit back on the heels if this is comfortable for you. And then lower your body weight to your elbows, and if you can, let your head fall right to the floor and just enjoy the stretch. Breathing deeply and evenly. Good, and now come back to all fours again. Now this next exercise is called the cat, and what you want to imagine is that there's a big beach ball, like right here under your whole abdominal cavity and chest. And if someone inflates it, your whole back is going to come up like this, like a cat's arch. And then as it deflates, we're going to deflate to neutral position. You don't want to arch too much in here. Try and stay pretty much to a neutral position. And we'll do 8 of those. The head is down as the back is up, all right? So we'll start with inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. 3 more times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last time. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now maintain that neutral position. And imagine that you can make slow circles with the very base of your spine. Close your eyes when you do this and notice any areas of tightness or constriction in your low back. And see if you can gently stretch or loosen these areas with a gentle movement. We'll make 4 circles in one direction and then we'll reverse and go in the other direction. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's change directions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now finally we're going to begin our leg stretching segment. So let's move back onto our back. Okay. Get comfortable. And we're going to start by bringing one knee to the chest. Now these stretching exercises are also given in the order of difficulty. So if any exercise starts to bother you, go back to the exercise prior or just relax a little bit if you want to. This is level 1, and it's a stretch of the back of the leg here, the hamstrings, the buttock muscles, and the low back. It's also a real good thing to do in the morning before you even get out of bed. So breathe deeply and evenly into your abdomen. Good. Now on level 2, I want you to look at me for a second. I'm going to keep my knee right here. It's the pivot point. So I'm going to take a breath in, and as I exhale slowly, I'm going to lift the calf just till the point where that knee wants to pull away from the chest. That's where I hold the stretch. Okay, let's do it together. Inhaling. And exhale, slowly bringing up that calf, and keep exhaling. Keep your breath going. And hold. Now, if your leg starts to quiver, you're doing it a little too hard. Ease up a little bit. Lighten it up. Good. Now, level number 3, we're going to straighten out the leg, flex the foot, and just hold on to the leg for a nice, comfortable, gentle stretch down the back of the leg. If this is too hard for you, you may find that what you want to do is to get a towel and do what George is doing here with a towel. It helps you when you're still building your flexibility. Feel free to use a towel whenever you want. Continue to breathe. Good. Now level number 4, again watch me. I'm going to clasp my hands behind the leg, and I'm going to press my leg as I exhale into my hands as hard as I can. So I'll take a breath in and exhale, pressing, 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 and release. And on the release, just very gently see if that released a little bit of flexibility. Let's do that together. So begin, inhale deeply, exhale, pressing, pressing, keep exhaling as you're pressing, keep that exhale going, and release. Good. And very gently see if that released some flexibility. One more time together, inhale deeply, and exhale, pressing, 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 and release. Good. Now release the leg and hold on to the ankle. We're going to come to the side. Now, if you're having trouble and difficulty reaching your ankle, feel free to use the towel again as George is demonstrating for us. Now on this stretch, as you hold on to the ankle, you're going to pull back on that knee until you feel the stretch in the front of the thigh here. It's called the quadricep stretch. And again, breathe deeply and evenly into your abdomen. Try and keep your knees kind of close together on this. And now come onto your back again. We're going to use the other knee. Now bringing it up, holding again underneath the knee, breathing deeply and evenly into your abdomen as we learned before. This is level number 1. Now level number 2, we're going to hold on to the knee again. That's the pivot point at the chest. Take a deep breath in and exhale, slowly bringing up the calf just till you feel that point where the knee wants to pull away from the chest. Being careful not to let the leg quiver too much. Good. And release. Now level number 3, we're going to straighten out the leg, flex the foot, and hold like this. Don't forget your towel if this is difficult. Sometimes I see people doing something like this. You want to be able to keep your back relaxed, so if you need to use the towel, by all means do. Continue breathing deeply and evenly into your abdomen. Good. Now level 4, we're going to press into the leg again. Let's do it together, inhaling deeply. And exhale, pressing, 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 pressing. Keep exhaling and relax. And now see if that released some flexibility. Good, let's do it one more time. Inhale deeply, and exhale, pressing, 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 and release. Good, and again, bring it up just a little bit if it releases. And then releasing the leg again, holding on to the ankle. We're going to come to the other side. And pulling back on that knee. Careful not to arch and keep the knees close together, although not touching. Breathing deeply into the abdomen. Good. Now while you're in this position, I want you to release the leg and bring your knees up almost to fetal position in a very square shape with your knees and your calves. Place the hands behind the head. The elbows are in front of the face. Now we're going to take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, I want you to open up that top elbow and let your head and eyes follow the movement of that top elbow. And when you reach the point of maximum stretch and rotation, I want you to breathe deeply 3 times into your abdomen. Let the breath itself kind of massage the back muscles in this position. Good. Now let your top leg come around, followed by your lower leg, and we'll come to the other side. Again, come almost to fetal position, so you're nice and square in here, bringing the knees up. The hands are behind the head, the elbows are in front of the face. Now take a deep breath in, and exhale, open it up. And take several deep breaths in this position. Enjoying the stretch, breathing deeply and evenly. Good. Well, you've just completed the exercise segment, and I hope that you're really feeling relaxed and that your body feels new movement and flexibility. Be patient. Flexibility and strength will come the more often you do this. Now, if you're going to do part 3 of the tape, and I hope you are today, just stay right where you are in a comfortable position on your back. If you need to get up, I want to show you how to get up from this position safely. This is both the best way of getting out of bed in the morning as well as getting off the floor. If you're on your back, you want to place one hand across your body, allowing the hips to just follow naturally. Then with your hand, you press the body weight up. From here, you come to all fours, flex the toes, and walk the weight up. Coming this way, walk the weight up the thighs. And there you are. Now, if you have to quit today, have a wonderful day. If you can continue on, find a comfortable position and stay tuned for the mind-body experience. Many of you know that when you get upset or someone almost cuts you off on the freeway or something difficult happens in your life, that the pain that you might experience on only a slight level all of a sudden becomes intensified. Or if you just had a hard day at the office, all of a sudden that mild neck ache becomes a raging headache. Well, it's important for us to have a tool to be able to undo the stress of life, to undo the way stress affects our bodies. A tool that allows us to regain control over how stress affects our back as well as the rest of our body. Part 3 of this tape will give you this kind of tool. You can't do part 3 the wrong way. It's the easiest thing in the world. But just like exercise, the more often you practice this segment of the tape, the more readily available a deeply relaxed state becomes to you. Do this at least once a day. Unplug the phone, close the door. Play this at a time when you won't be disturbed by anything or anyone. Find a time that you can just be quiet. So right now, just lie or sit down, preferably with a back support if you're sitting. Close your eyes. The music you'll be hearing is very soothing, and my voice will go with you into this visualization. Put your hands gently on your abdomen while you're lying there, and just start to breathe. Imagine you find yourself on a beautiful pathway in a woods today, walking with absolutely nothing on your mind except the beauty that surrounds you. This is a pathway that you know very well. It's a place you often come when you want peace and safety. You enjoy the air and the warmth. Take a deep breath and notice the smells that fill your nostrils. You're coming to a bend in the road, and you'll find just beyond that bend is a beautiful pool. It's a pool that no one knows about but you. It's your own very special place to come to. Find the pool now. Notice the set of stairs that enter into the pool on the far side. Walk over to them. And as you do, what are the sounds that you can enjoy? Are there birds present? Or a breeze traveling through the leaves? Notice the environment. Now take the first step into the pool and allow the water to come all the way up to your knees. And notice the very special property about this pool. That water is a perfect temperature. It's not hot, it's not cool. It's a perfect, almost womb-like temperature. And as you stand there, the muscles of your calves and your ankles, your feet, just melt into a deep relaxation with the nurturing waters. Now take the second step and allow the water to come all the way up and cover your thighs. And again, let that warmth come deeply into your muscles, relaxing all of the muscles of the legs. As you breathe, you allow that warmth to do its magic. And take the next step up, a little higher than waist high. And now the water travels up and relaxes the muscles of the buttocks, the lower abdomen, and of course, the very base of the spine. Take several deep breaths and allow that warmth to deeply relax all of these muscles that do so much work for you every day. Take the next step and allow your whole upper body to just fall into the water now. The muscles of your shoulders, your upper back, your rib cage, your chest, all just take a deep exhale and relax, taking that warm, nurturing water, allowing it to surround you, and let go. And as you do this now, allow your arms to just drop down into the water, relaxing the muscles of your upper arms, your elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers. And notice now that if you just lift your feet, you start to float in this pool. It has a very special buoyancy, and you don't have to do a thing. Not one muscle contracts to allow you to float effortlessly. And you enjoy that feeling of just floating around, bobbing in the water. And now bring your awareness to the part of your body that usually carries the most pain for you. And I'd like you to imagine that there's a tiny flower bud that you place in that area. And each time you exhale, that tiny flower starts to open. With each exhale, the petals relax into their own beauty. And as this happens, your body will learn new ways of relaxing and opening the tightness and the stress that usually lives there. Learn to use your breath along with the petals of this flower to relax. And you can keep working with this image. Or you may choose to now place that same flower bud
in the very center of your mind, in the center of your brain. And again, watch those petals relax and flower. And as that flower opens in the center of your mind, allow your mind to be washed free of the worry and the stress and the negative thoughts that race through. Allow your mind for these few moments to be filled with peace and beauty. Now you may stay in this state for as long as you wish, but know that when you come back into the room, you will come back with energy and relaxation, and that you can come back to this place at any time you wish. For now, have a wonderful day.